Welcome back to this episode. Today I will be talking about my recent experience in the courtroom. My siblings you just saw there are the entire reason that I started this channel. They have been wronged and silenced by the courts, and I'm here to talk about it. We were not notified about this court date until 3 weeks prior. I have the best relationship with Raymond and Layla out of anyone. One of the other questions was about who operates this channel. They filed to have complete isolation from my dad. She came after my character to help her case. Chad was asked questions by my dad, which included, what was the first thing that you bought Layla? So about 6 years ago, Chad had met us at the lake, and I think he just totally enjoyed our family. And the first thing that he bought my sister was a surfboard. And it was her very own surfboard, and we were able to go out surfing, and that really started the relationship with Chad. And fast forward to today, our full shop is his, and we do a lot of manufacturing for him. And many of the tools that he's gotten is for me, Raymond, and Layla to learn. He really gets a lot of joy out of seeing us learn these tools, and out of anyone, he is very disappointed and hurt to see that Raymond and Layla have been completely removed from this opportunity that was created just for them. I think one of the first questions she asked him was what experience he has with broken families and if he has a psychology degree in that field. Well, he doesn't have a psychology degree in that field, and his answer was actually that he had fostered over 22 kids, and part of his job was finding homes for those kids. Outside of that, I know personally that he had many other kids that came through his house. His house was open to so many people. When that was not the answer that anyone was expecting to hear, the next question was, well, do you have any experience with family court? This is probably the worst question to ask Chad, because he's a lobbyist himself, and he's been a lobbyist for I don't know how many years, but he has gotten bills passed, and he's been very involved in helping just about anyone that goes to court. He's been a huge help to us, and anything from traffic court to family court to just about anything. He knows how to get the judge to realize that he's going to take it to the next court, and that takes money away from them. He really has a lot of experience with the system. Again, this was not an answer that they were expecting to hear, and I think I was behind the lawyer, and I could see her kind of fall down a little bit in her posture. And then the judge had her last few words. She asked my dad if he has any last words to say, to which he said, the worst thing you can do is not speak to your kids. Which, if anyone didn't catch on to that, he is talking to my mother, because she does not speak to them. She isolates them, and she does not speak to them. She avoids them. They live in her house, and she literally avoids them. And she is going to be reaping what she sows in that relationship. Then the judge continued, saying that the arrest warrant would be carried out and that he would be in jail until the arrears in child support was paid in full. It did not matter that the child support account was only created 2 to 3 weeks prior, when it should have been created 12 years ago. The neglect on my mother's end was completely ignored. And from the comments that I've seen, that we are not the only ones to experience that. So thank you to anyone that has shared that experience. My dad, Chad, and I were then taken outside into the hall where the 2 police officers arrested my dad. I had to carry the rest of his things, and he was taken to the back of the courthouse, and Chad and I immediately went out to the truck, put some credit cards together, came back in, waited in line, and by the time we got all the way to the front, they told us, oh, we don't take credit card, we take cash, which was very frustrating. So let's look at, I actually have some of the timestamps of how some things happened after the courtroom. So you have to go through a kiosk and you get your ticket, and then your ticket is called, and then you can go to the window. So the first ticket was called at 3:17 p.m. Our court session was promptly ended at 3 p.m., so it took 17 minutes to get all the way to get through the kiosk, and then it took a little bit longer to get to the window where we were told that credit cards will not be accepted. So Chad and I went back to the truck and were figuring out what to do next. We had to go to the bank, and that took some time. So we went to the bank, we came back. I actually went in to the courthouse alone this time to pay the bail. The time on my second kiosk ticket was 3:55 p.m., so it took about 45 minutes to get back to the courthouse with the cash. And I'm sitting there. It took like another 20 minutes to get to the window, so it's after 4 p.m. and the lady is going through everything for like 5 to 10 minutes. It was a while. And then she tells me he was just picked up. She was telling me that he had just left the courthouse. We had just missed him by like 5 minutes, which was very frustrating. We actually thought that we were going to be able to get him out before he left the courthouse and that this was not going to disrupt the day or the week. To back up, when we were out in the truck the first time looking through credit cards, my mother's husband promptly left the courthouse alone, and I didn't think anything of it. Thought maybe he had somewhere to be. I am sitting there at the window. There's a whole row of windows, all the seating behind you, and at the far end of the room you have the doors that open up into the hallway that then go into the different courtrooms. So I'm sitting there at the window, and out of the corner of my eye I see my mother's husband leave those doors again. He walked out. Again, he was alone, and I think he saw me. He turned his head away, but I could see him in the reflection of the window. My understanding, there is no other way into the courthouse because you are checked by officers. You have to take your belt off. You have to put your phone in there. Can't have anything else really on you. And so to see him coming out of there an hour later really makes me wonder what he was there doing, what was so important, what maybe had him frustrated. That's all I'm going to say on that. You can take what you want from it. So my dad was taken to jail basically on the premise that he had never paid child support, in which the account had hardly existed for 2 to 3 weeks, and he was forced to pay arrears to the amount that they settled on was $7,000, and the judge said that he would be held in the jail until that was paid in full. The following day, I was able to call the jail and understand that he had already seen another judge. I asked if I could come pick him up already, and they said no, he has to be held here for 24 hours. To which I said, the bail has already been paid, why are you holding him there? I didn't even understand why he needed to see a judge. The bail had been paid literally within 2 hours. And they said, well, he has to be held here for 24 hours, and then he can be released. And they said, so you should be expecting a call tomorrow. So he was there for about just under 2 days. I think the judge had a full intention of keeping my dad in jail for the lump sum of $7,000 that could not immediately be paid by us and actually had to be paid by Chad. But the intent of that was a kill shot. Perhaps in the future, my dad will share his experience with the judge that he met with in the courtroom. I can share this, he did not see a single male judge. There are about 6 female judges. And he says it was very interesting to see how they treated other people that were dealing with felonies and DUIs and how, I think even illegals, and how they were treated versus how he was treated. I'm thankful that even though my testimony and Chad's testimony made zero difference in the outcome that we got, that we were both able to speak and that we were able to stand by Raymond and Layla and stand up for them and speak highly of them and just speak the truth. For Raymond and Layla, I would do it again. Thanks for watching, and maybe next time I'll be talking about how things have panned out since the court date. My mother got everything she asked for, but was it enough? I guess you'll have to come back and see.